Welcome to my channel. My name is Kelsey. I'm a graphic designer. I went to school for graphic design and then now I work at a full-time creative agency, and then I also take on freelance projects on the side. So I've learned a few things on the best devices, programs, tools, and different things you need for being a designer. Of course, you don't need all of these to be a designer. If you're just starting out, I have a video that talks specifically to you in becoming a graphic designer. But if you're a designer that already kind of is familiar with it, you might just want to be upping your tools, so this video could be interesting to you, or it could also help you kickstart your career. Either way, let's get into it. First up, we have this baby right here. This is my iMac. I actually use this from the creative agency I work at full-time, so I'm not sure what year it is. I'll insert that below. But basically, I use this for everything that I do on the daily. So I use it for all the different programs I'll talk about. I use it for anything that I need a larger screen for. That's really the plus with this, is having a great large screen. And then I have a couple tools with it too, of course. So I have the Apple keyboard, Magic Keyboard, and then I have the Magic Mouse too. So the mouse is great, but the only downside to it is you do have to charge it in the back, which is a huge flaw with the mouse, because then you can't use it while you're working on your computer. But a lot of people get a trackpad because of that reason, and because they like to work in that type of way that you can zoom in and out on the device. I also use a MacBook Pro. This is great. This is what I first got into designing. This is a 2015, and so it has really came a long way with me. I would say this is my go-to for starting off your design career. Basically, it's great because you can take it and obviously work wherever you need to work. The screen size is pretty good, but obviously it's not as big as your MacBook or your iMac. And you can still do all the different programs. The only downside with this is that it doesn't have as large of a RAM. A lot of times I find that it is working much harder than my iMac, and so I hear the fan running, it starts getting warm, my cursor starts swirling, and I start getting nervous. But for the most part, this thing has never really failed me. Okay, and this one is fairly new. I've only had it for about a year, but it is my iPad Pro. I love this thing. It is so great for drawing on and for doing anything in that sort of sense. I also use it for a lot of other things now, like it's great for watching videos or tutorials while I'm working, or just taking it with me to do a recipe while I cook. But for design-wise, it's great for drawing, of course, and using the Apple Pencil because it can detect different pressure points when you're drawing and really communicates well. And I would like to say that a huge reason why I use Apple products are because they work so seamlessly together. I can easily airdrop things from piece to piece, and I can also do things like copy text on one of them and paste it on another without doing anything else, which is amazing. And it's just a really convenient way to have everything connected. Then my Canon, it's a Rebel T5. I use this for photography purposes. This isn't something you necessarily need to have, of course, with design, because you're not necessarily supposed to be a photographer when you're a designer, but a lot of times they do need to go hand in hand, or if you're marketing yourself, you want it to be able to take great photography. So this has came in handy. I'm kind of looking at upgrading my camera, but for right now, this one has done me well, and I would recommend just having some sort of camera that you can use to take quality photos. Let's get into programs. Okay, everyone is aware if you're getting into design, you look at the Adobe Suite. The Adobe Suite is great because there's so many different programs in there that allow for many different capabilities and different purposes. I just want to start by talking about Adobe Illustrator because that is my absolute favorite program. It's a vector-based program, so that means you can create mathematical points on different aspects, or like shapes, elements, graphics, things like that. And it actually allows you to scale up easily or scale down and manipulate it with keeping clear, crisp lines. It is also super easy to learn if you just take a few tutorials on it. You can use it for print, you can use it for digital space, so it's really great in that sense. Then we also have InDesign, which is another vector-based program. It's great for more like a print type of style. So if you are creating a different type of book, if you're creating a presentation that has multiple pages, there's just great capabilities in it that allow you to create like text characters that make you be able to completely adjust layers all at once, no matter if they're on different pages or headlines all at once, to create a cohesive style while keeping elements separate as well. Then we have Photoshop. Photoshop is probably the more well-known program for graphic design. It is a raster-based program, so that means that the graphic elements are pixel-based, so it's not as easily to be able to scale up or scale down or keep those crisp lines. It is great though for creating mock-ups, for manipulating photos, and changing different types of images in that sense. So you can use that for digital, for print, but that's not as common, but mostly in the digital space for creating graphics is great. Then we can get into some of the Adobe Creative Suites that aren't always as popular with graphic designers, but are used by a lot of them. So we have Adobe Lightroom, which is awesome for editing your photos. A lot of people are using that, a lot of creatives, a lot of content makers are using that now to create different presets to make a look consistent on their feed, on their blog, on their website, wherever it is, have a great look that matches their brand. Then you can also use Adobe After Effects. This is great for creating motion graphics, which allows you to bring in layers from Photoshop or layers from Illustrator and manipulate them to create different colors, maybe change, or create different movement within your shapes and create a complete look. Then the last one I'm going to talk about is Premiere. This is great for videos, of course, for editing videos. It has some of the capabilities as After Effects has, but not quite exactly the same. And it's just great for creating those different videos. So maybe you want to be a graphic designer and also get into YouTube, or you also just want to offer that as a different skill set for your clients. The last program I would recommend is Procreate. This became so popular with people using iPads and getting iPads and getting more into illustrations. It's again a raster-based program, so you can't scale up as easily, but it is beautiful in creating different doodles and creating different textures. You can use so many different brushes in it. You can create so many different shapes and colors and pull from images, which is so great. I have really enjoyed using this program. It's really changed the game, and a lot of times I'll take my creations from this program and bring it into Illustrator to create a vector, or I'll bring it in to really just up the look of a brand element. Those are all the tools and devices and programs and different things I use on the daily for graphic design. Of course, I want to remind you again, you don't need to have all of these to get started in graphic design. I would just recommend starting with one program, having one device, and kicking off your career that way. That way you can learn as you go, because if you go after all of these different things, it's going to become very overwhelming. But if you gradually learn each one, you'll be able to pick it up in no time.